So the plan for today is to try and swap the radiator over, because obviously, as you've seen in the last video, the radiator is completely bust. You can sort of see through there. So I'm going to try and obviously put the new radiator in. So to change the radiator, all I'm doing really is just using the manual on my laptop. Obviously here it's going to tell me how to remove and put the radiator back in, but other than that I think it's just common sense. So the first part, what you want to do is obviously find the coolant lid thing. Without putting pressure on it, just turn it towards the left and it'll stop. Obviously make sure the car's not hot and the fluid's not hot. Once that's done, then push downwards, twist it, and it should be able to come off quite freely. Just be careful it doesn't tip out everywhere. So once you remove the coolant cap, what you want to do now is start the car and do this until this hose here is hot. This will basically tell you that the thermostat is open and the car's up to temperature where you can flush it out, ready for the new radiator to go in. So whilst we're waiting for the car to warm up, I thought I'd show you the radiator that's going in. I bought it off eBay from a private seller. It was £39, and from what I've heard, I might have to do some modifications, because basically, as you see where there's a 10mm bolt in there, or a 10mm nut, there needs to be that on this side as well. But because this is the newer style radiator, it hasn't got them on, so what I have to do is try and take them off the original one, put them back onto here, or make my own mount. It's just to hold the radiator in place. It's nothing too important, but it's just to keep it in the same place. Now is a good time to check behind the headlights for rust, as that's where it's one of the most common places to find rust. So as you can see, I've got quite a bit of rust down there. And also if you go, you can see it from the side as well. So now the top hose is quite hot and the Jimny's up to operating temperature. Basically all you got to do is just simply turn it off, and then you'll see that underneath there's a drain plug, which is this white cap here. This one. Unscrew that. Once you've unscrewed that, obviously the coolant will start coming out. Make sure you've got a pot to collect it in so it doesn't go everywhere. So beware when you take the drain plug completely out, because it flows out and it goes absolutely everywhere. So the coolant is pretty much finished draining, so I'm going to put the plug back in, so when I take it out I don't get fluid all over me. That's if there's any left. So once you're confident you've got most of the coolant out, there's two 10mm bolts, one there, one there. You want to unscrew these, unbolt these, and then along the bottom there's another 3. However, I only get the one in, so there's one there, one here, and one there. So unbolt all of them. So now that you've taken the cooling fans bolts out, next up what you want to do is disconnect the hoses. So disconnect this one and this one. So once you've disconnected the hose from the coolant tank, and the hose that goes into the engine. There's another one that's underneath, which is the same as the one that goes to the engine. That's the thicker pipe here with this clamp on it. So same as the top one, use a pair of pliers, take it back and then pull it off. So after a bit of fighting, I managed to disconnect this hose here, which is dripping a bit, so if your bucket is still handy, I would put that underneath. The only thing left to do now is to use a 10mm to take off this bolt and this bolt, and theoretically it should come up. So now the bolts have been removed, the hoses have been removed as well, so I'm guessing this should just sort of come out. So the radiator is out, and you can just see how damaged it is. If you run your finger, you can just crumble everything down, and it goes all the way through as well. So if we just compare the old radiator to the new one, there's a massive difference. So now to put the radiator back in, all we need to do is what we did to take it out, but in reverse. So I mentioned earlier that on the new radiator there was no bolts on the side, so I'd have to make them. But what I just realised is if you get the original ones, they just slide out, so we can use them on the new ones to install it. So when you put the new radiator in, you've got to make sure that these line up on the radiator to the mount. So once the new radiator is being put in, I recommend putting the coolant fan bolts back in to keep this as one unit, so it keeps it all together. I just find it makes it a lot easier while trying to install it. So the first side is done, just got to do this side. All the bolts are put back in, so now we've got to do is connect the hoses, this hose, and of course the one underneath. So now that the radiator's put back in, what the manual says is that you're now to take the coolant tank, empty it completely and then refill it. However, it was about 3 or 4 days ago where I put this coolant in, and as you've seen when it came out, it was still bright in colour. You can see it's bright green. So I don't care if anyone cries or complains, I'm going to leave that in and then just fill this up. Again, like I said, I only changed that a few days ago, so. Once you're happy with the level of coolant and water you've got, and the level in the coolant reservoir, go ahead and put the cap back on. So take the radiator cap, do the opposite, so press it down hard and then soft, and it should be on. Go and start the Jeep, get it up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature and this is hot, same as before, turn the car off, wait for it to cool down, open the cap, check the levels and the fluids, and they should be okay. If it's a lot lower, obviously it's gone through the engine and it's gone into an air pocket or whatever, so then just top up as needed. So the engine's been running for about 10 minutes. The top hose is hot and it's up to temperature on the dial as well. So like I said earlier, just turn it off, leave it to cool for a minute before undoing the radiator cap, because it might be quite hot, it might come out everywhere, and then check the levels to make sure everything's okay. So I've just taken off the cap. Obviously the level's gone down quite a fair bit, so what I'm doing now is just keep topping up with water and coolant until you keep repeating it and the level stays the same. So to pretty much sum up what I've done, take the old radiator out because it was completely bust. I didn't have any problems with it. The car wasn't overheating, but it just looked bad. It couldn't have been good for the car. So I took that out, drained all the fluid, put the new one in, as you can see. Put new fluid in. Looks a bit better now. I was keeping it running. It's been on for about 20 minutes now. It's nice and hot. So I'll check the levels again. But that's pretty much it for this video. The last video was a bit of a mess, to be honest. I didn't really know what I was doing. I tried to sort the front washers out and failed. So I bought a new tank and new pumps, put them in, and it still doesn't work. So I'm guessing the next video is going to be trying to fix that again. If anyone does know what the problem is, it's got to be something to do with the wiring, because I've got new pumps on it. The back one now works, it's just the front, so maybe it's the front wires. But besides that, I really haven't got a clue what's wrong with it. And the exhaust as well, I haven't really mentioned it, but I did try film a video where I made my own exhaust. But to be honest, it wasn't working. The welder I was using just wasn't quite coping. So I've ordered a new welder, and I took the Jeep up to a local garage to get the exhaust done properly. So they've done the exhaust. So it does sound a lot better now, there's no blowing. I've just got to put one of the bolts back in where the cat connects up towards the manifold. But besides that, the exhaust is pretty much sorted. The radiator's done, so it's another thing off the checklist of many things to do. But coming up as well, I can have a lot of videos on all the welding. So I've taught myself how to weld. So I'm either going to try and find a new replacement front slam panel, maybe online or eBay. I think they're about £300. If I can't find one of them, I'm going to template it up with some cardboard and weld some new plates in, seal it and everything, so it's a lot better. But if I show you, I tried briefly showing you earlier. Yeah, that's not good. So I think that's next on the agenda, sort that out. So yeah, cheers for watching the video. If you did, don't really care whether you liked it or not. It's just as a quick guide to show you that if I can change the radiator, I think anyone can. As long as you've got more than 3 fingers and an eye, you'll be alright. Nice one.